Hey everyone, sorry it was taking so long. The holidays were kind of hectic for me, especially now that it's award season. But now, since it is award season, it gives me a chance to finally show me my other list that I've done for last year's films. These are my top 10 worst films of 2011. um, yeah. Okay, so this first one is probably going to make some people a little bit angry. But Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. Yeah, I know. Just soak that in a little bit. Okay, I know this movie has got a lot of critical acclaim, especially among critics, but of course all critics love Terrence Malick, so yeah, this was inevitable. But I'll say one thing about this movie. The cinematography is actually some of the most beautiful I've ever seen. No joke. It is some of the best cinematography I've seen a movie in a very long time. If this was in 3D, it would have been amazing, but critics hate 3D, but yet critics like Terrence Malick. So I think that actually is kind of interesting. What would it be if they found out about, they figured what they figured from the 3D, like, okay, maybe it's not so bad because Terrence Malick did it, or they would actually change their opinion on 3D as a whole. But yeah, number 10 is true. And also, of course, the dialogue is really beatniky. It's very kind of like Sunday afternoon at the coffee shop kind of dialogue. The only person who I really think is really, really good in the movie is Brad Pitt. He actually, and they treat him like he's like the worst father ever, right? Like, he's actually a pretty good father. And he's actually, you know, he does actually care for his kids. Not like he's a drunk asshole or anything else like that. But yeah, it's just very strange. And yeah, I don't have 2 hours of my life to spare to see this movie again. So if anybody's saying that, see it again, I really can't. I got too much left to do. So 10 is Tree of Life. Deal with it. Number 9 is Footloose. Long story short, why remake Footloose? Another worthless remake, especially in this time. The music today sucks. Deal with it. The music in the 80s was awesome. Deal with that too. And there's no way you could top Kevin Bacon in the original, nor John Lithgow in the original. Those two were the main points of the first film. And without them, the film doesn't seem to float on its own 2 legs, especially since not all, but a lot of the young actors today are not as charismatic as the young actors of yesteryear were. So, yeah, Footloose. Number 8 is New Year's Eve. Oh boy. Gary Marshall, I love you. You are a damn good comedian, you're a damn good director, you are a damn good writer, but please stop with these overly saturated, romantic comedy, star-laden, but the stars do nothing in them, movies. You obviously have talent, just, you gotta pick your scripts a little bit better. And for the love of God, don't go so cliche. This is the most cliche-ridden movie I've ever seen. Oh, one of them. But, Real Steel was pretty cliche-ridden, but they actually did that knowingly. This one is just like, it's doing it, but it's trying to be quirky. And also, the jokes are just bad. It's not funny. The jokes were just really bad. So basically, it's just a really bad romantic comedy. So, New Year's Eve. Number 7 is, okay, a lot of people are probably going to wonder why this isn't higher, but Twilight, Breaking Dawn, Part 1. This is hands down the worst Twilight. Don't get me wrong. This is the worst Twilight movie I've ever seen. And I've actually seen all the other ones. Not in the theaters, but like on DVD. And I have actually torn them to shreds with my friends. Me and my friends were actually watching them, and they are so laughably bad. But this one, it tries to conquer the issue of pregnancy, and does it horribly. And there are other scenes in this film that are just laughable, like the wolves yelling at each other, "I am the son of a chief!" Come on, that's just, I bet that was much better in the book. I can believe that, but in here, it's laughable. It is so goddamn laughable. So, what else I have to say? Kristen Stewart can't act. Robert Pattinson looks like he's passing kidney stone throughout most of the film. And Taylor Lautner, yeah, Taylor Lautner is probably the most likable character, who's the main character in the film, aside from the father and Martin Sheen's character. Send out to find Carlisle, and that's Carlisle with an S. I love that guy. That whole movie should have been about that guy. So, yeah, Twilight sucks. Next movie. Quick one. Okay, number 6. Okay, 5 and 6 kind of go back to back. Number 6 is The Green Hornet, and number 5 is The Green Lantern. Both terrible superhero movies. I think, though, that The Green Lantern is more egregious because it's such a mainstream comic book movie, but Green Hornet was just them trying to take a show that actually took itself seriously and try to make it funny. Also because Seth Rogen wrote it. And kudos to him, he actually did make a great villain in Christoph Waltz as Shadnovsky, who has an identity crisis. But he is at his Roganist in this movie, but not in a good way. Like, he actually comes off as a little bit obnoxious. Jay Chow was wasted in this film as Kato, as is Cameron Diaz, as the pseudo-love interest. And it's pretty fucking bad when you have the main actress beat up, the lead actress in the film, beat up on the two heroes of the film with a goddamn umbrella, totally emasculating them. That's fucking bad. There's a superhero movie, ladies and gentlemen, right there. A friggin' joke. Green Lantern basically is just very lackluster, terribly miscast. Blake Lively is as wooden can be. They might as well have had a big cardboard cutout of Blake Lively stand in there for her. The effects looked unfinished, to tell you the truth, and even cartoony at times. And the bad guy of the movie was a giant piece of poo that attacks New Orleans. Yeah, Monster attacks the city at the end of this. If you have not seen Monster, see it. It's actually an awesome movie. So, yeah, and number 4 is, oh my god, another superhero movie that I saw this year. Now, this is not a new movie. It's new to me because I saw it this year. And I'm going to do a review on it sooner or later. I'm going to say it right now. The Demolitionist. Oh my god. I would rather watch Green Hornet. I would rather watch Green Lantern compared to this movie, though. Like, this is the greater of the two evils. Of the other two evils that I just explained. This movie is so boring, so horribly acted. I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. The plot feels borrowed from a lot of other superhero movies. It is the basic superhero movie, but done incredibly poorly. And stay tuned. I'm reviewing this movie, so don't go anywhere. Like, I'm actually going to go into great detail about why that movie is so bad. Even though I didn't come out this year, this is the first year I've seen it. This movie's from like the 90s, 97, I'm guessing. 97. I'm gonna take a shot at. It's 97. Okay. Now here's my top 3. The worst of the worst. Number 3, The Smurfs. Hollywood, stop remaking stuff from my childhood. You're not making me like you anymore. The best part of Smurfs was the first 5 minutes, where they're in the Smurf Village. It actually looked like a cartoon, but then the minute they go to New York City, I really felt like leaving. I actually felt like leaving the theater. It suffers the same syndrome that they tried to do with Thor, where it was the fish out of water story. But at least in Thor, it was done well, and everyone around him at least acted like a normal person, well, except for Kat Dennings, but everyone else around him acted like a normal human being, except for him, and that's what made it funny. He really was the fish out of water. In Smurfs, all of these friggin' people are insane. We have a crazy Mexican lady from, I don't know if she's Mexican, but Sofia Vergara from Modern Family, basically as the boss of Neil Patrick Harris. Neil Patrick Harris basically is playing just the same cut and dry guy who's overworked and he doesn't spend enough time with his family, or in this case his fiance. And the only person who actually does a good job in this movie is Hank Azaria. He wasn't terrible, but the stuff they got him to say was bad. Like, he does and says things that are just like, really, the sophistication of the humor in this film. Especially the cat ball joke. There are cat ball jokes in this movie, like, of Azrael licking his balls and him getting stuck on Gargamel's head and Gargamel making a crack about, oh, I didn't know you were a boy. So apparently he's getting teabagged by the cat. And yeah, the Smurfs were obnoxiously annoying, saying the word Smurf in every single sentence. It got really grating. And it was just cut and dry. Apparently the same guy did Scooby-Doo. There's 2 Scooby-Doo movies, directed it, and it shows. Bottom of the barrel jokes. Sucks. Do not take, if your kids beg you to take them to see it, just say no to them. Number 2 is, I didn't see this movie in the theater, but from the trailer alone I was offended. Jack and Jill, starring Adam Sandler. Did any of you ever see Tropic Thunder? Did any of you ever see Tropic Thunder? Remember the Fatty's Fart 2 trailer in Top Tropic Thunder? This was my Fatty's Fart 2. This was the film that I was so offended I couldn't believe that this actually existed. That is where we have become as a human being. We have gotten to the point where a guy dressing up as a woman is still friggin' funny. That is the thinnest plot you could possibly get into this movie. And it gets even worse that you have Al Pacino in it, playing himself, and he's attracted to female Adam Sandler. And not only that, Johnny Depp's in this movie as a cameo. He doesn't do anything insulting, thank God, but he's in it for like 5 minutes. Was he really not doing anything that weekend? Was he not doing a photo shoot or going to a school or doing something for charity or something? Seriously, Johnny Depp, you're better than this movie. You don't have to be in this movie. People who are fans of Al Pacino aren't going to enjoy this movie. Katie Holmes does nothing in this movie. There's no reason for her to be in it. Adam Sandler, I like you, but seriously, just stop. Stop with these movies. They're not funny. I know they make money, but they're not funny. And they're not helping your career either. They just make you look more and more juvenile. More like the juvenile man-child that you were back in the 90s. So yeah, Jack and Jill, watch with caution. And my #1 worst film of the year was Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Really? Are you really surprised? The film is just basically a giant bag of candy. It's all eye candy, but much like candy, you get sick of it after a while. Shia LaBeouf is the most unlikable he's ever been in a film in this one. The effects, I still don't know which Transformer is which, so it's still hard as hell to know which one is fighting who. I thought they killed Megatron like 5 times in this movie. Leonard Nimoy, they make him ruin Wrath of Khan by saying the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few in this film. And, that was just a knife in my heart. And, every other character is a friggin' comic relief character. The parents, John Malkovich, the Alan Tudyk character. Why was Alan Tudyk when he was in the much better Tucker and Dale vs. Evil? Alan Tudyk is legitimately talented, but why was he in this movie? Oh god, and it's basically like, if any of you were actually excited to go see this movie, and you thought it was going to be a big treat to go see it, no, instead of getting a fruit by the foot, or a Tootsie Pop, or anything else that you get on Halloween in your treat bag, I got a friggin' rock. And know that the humor is even worse than some of the stuff that's in Transformers 2. The Deep Wang joke, I don't know what's up with, what the hell is his name? The guy from The Hangover. Ken Jeong, that's his name. I don't know what it is with him playing the same character in every movie he's in. Ever since The Hangover, every character is like Mr. Chow from The Hangover. He is actually funny when he plays it serious. That's even when he's even funnier. But now with that shtick's really growing thin, and Ken Jeong, I still think you're funny, but, and your other stuff, but please just stop with that shtick. Go back to your, agent, like, go back to your kind of dark, serious kind of manner, like when you were Knocked Up. That was funny. Or in Grown Ups when you were the king. That was awesome. You were hilarious in that. And yeah, and I know Skids and Mufflap are in it, but then there's Beavis Bot and Joe Pesci Bot. Wheelie, I think his name is, voiced by SpongeBob himself, Tom Kenny, and yeah, their jokes are horrible too. They're basically Skids and Mufflap for this movie. And I'm probably going to go into more detail over that in the other Transformers movies as a whole sooner or later, but and why they're so bad and why they ruin a perfectly good 80s franchise. But that's another trip for another time. So those are my top 11 worst films of this year. To hell with them, and I hope to see you all again soon in another review. I'll come back with something else along the lines. See ya.